Hello and welcome to today's Tech Talk on Inventory on-hand mobile app in Dynamics 365 Supply Chain Management. My name is Hiren Naik and I will be moderating this session. This session is being recorded on behalf of Microsoft Corporation. Presenting us for today from Microsoft, Yufei Huang, Senior Program Manager, and we have Jitong Liu, who will be also supporting the question answers. Yufei, over to you.
Thank you, Hiren, for the introduction, and welcome everyone. A brief introduction on the agenda. So we will first have an overview of the app, and then we will see a functional demo, and then a step-by-step setup guidance, and then licensing information regarding this app. And lastly, we will do a quick survey and also go into the Q&A section. So this inventory on-hand mobile app, initially it is a replacement of the deprecated legacy inventory on-hand workspace for Dynamics 365 SCM. And that means it is a first-party app of Dynamics 365 SCM. And what it offers, it offers 360-degree review of inventory by key dimensions, batch IDs, and storage locations. And it allows you to switch between different entities to view the on-hand information. And you can also set your default site and warehouses, or switch between your default site and warehouse and your all sites and warehouses. And it is compatible with WHS items, with WHS hierarchy down to the location level. And some facts about the app. First of all, it is a Canvas Power App. It is built on the Canvas Power App framework, and it does allow you to make extensions at the moment. However, currently the Power App framework does not support upgrade of your extensions, which means you will lose your extension if you upgrade the app. But they're currently working on building a framework that is supporting it. So hopefully, if you're going to make extensions, hopefully it will be supported soon through the upgrade. And the data source-wise, it is reading the data from Dynamics 365 SCM on-hand inventory, and how it works is we have created virtual entities within the Dataverse that connects with the Dynamics SCM on-hand data, and then this app was reading the data through that virtual entity. And security-wise, it is also the same as whenever users user gets the security within Dynamics 365 SCM. And for example, basically, if you can access the inventory on-hand list in Dynamics 365 SCM, then you can access these apps data. Here is a brief architecture of how the data flow works across the platforms. So we have the Dynamics on-hand inventory on-hand data entity, and then it was cached into this virtual entity in Dataverse. And then on top of that, we have this mobile app. And as mentioned previously, all the securities, duties, privileges, and same authentications, it's being used from both sides. And on the right side, here is a list of the virtual entities we built. And you should be able to access that, view it as well in your Dataverse environment that is used to support this mobile app to run. Here is a functional demo. Dynamics 365 Supply Chain Management now offers a new inventory on-hand mobile app that are based on Microsoft Power App framework. You can use the app to search for and check product inventory availability anytime and anywhere. After companies admin provision the app to your company's Dynamics 365 Supply Chain Management environment, you should be able to access the app from your mobile Power App list. You can gain a holistic view on your inventory and improve your work efficiency by focusing on products and inventory in your normal operation site and warehouse. Let's start. So actually you can already, to start, there's some basic settings. First of all, you can select a normal legal entity where you usually work for. For example, USMF, Contoso Entertainment System. And once it's done, you can go back. And you can get started. You basically can start searching. You can search by product ID or product name. For example, you can either search for number Or you could do typing some fuzzy search on the product name, and there will be a list of relevant results listed on the first page, and with the total available quantity plus the unit of measure. So if I click to view the details, and by default it shows the inventory across all sites and locations. And if this item has dimensions such as color, size, style, then the respective dimensions will also show here. And let's start to take a look from one of the sites. You can continue drill down from the sites to the warehouse, and from the warehouse to warehouse locations. And you can view the inventory details by different inventory measures. And in addition, if I go back, you will be able to filter. For example, if I choose inventory dimensions black and color medium, and even I could filter by measures as well. So you can specify the minimum inventory quantity and maximum inventory quantity of the warehouses, and the result will only show the inventory quantity that fits the inventory quantity for the warehouses that fits your filter. I'll click by apply, and you will see that because I filtered by size medium and color black, and now the result only shows the relevant product with these dimensions combination and its inventory. And in addition, you could also choose to display the result by, for example, inventory status. That it will show the status as available. If you have inventory that has status unavailable or other statuses, you could choose to only show the available inventory. Let me now show you the function that you could also display by batch. So if I search for, let me find a batch product. And if I choose to display the result by batch, you can see that it's showing the batch details and its inventory measure. And now I want to show you the My Site and Warehouse functionality. What you can do is, if you set, let's say, if you normally work in a specific site or even a specific site and warehouse, you could set it as your normal site and warehouse. So for example, if I choose site 2 warehouse 24 as my normal site and warehouse, as you can see, it shows here. And you can specify how site and warehouse is optional, purely optional. So now I have warehouse site 2 warehouse 24 as my normal site and warehouse, which means now if I search for inventory, and if I view, for example, go to this item, as this is not a batch item, I need to show it, click show by storage. And as you can see that, so let me start again. So if I go to this one, and by default, it will first search for your own site and warehouse, which shows the inventory within site 2 and warehouse 24. Let's say if you, let's assume you didn't find the ideal inventory within the site and warehouse, then you could easily navigate to view the inventory across all the sites and warehouses. This is I think it's a very convenient functionality. And lastly, I will show how to search for inventory by filtering the measures. As you can see, taking again for this item, for example, under these sites and warehouses, it has some sites and warehouses has no stock, and some has, for example, like 370, and some has even more. So let's say I only want to see the warehouses that has quantity larger than 300. Now let me put in 300 as the minimum and apply to that. And now if I click, you can see despite still show on site to their like 370 quantities, but there's no warehouse, no single warehouse that has such inventory larger than this. However, within site 6, there is warehouse 63 that has inventory quantity that is larger than 300. And that is pretty much of the functionality of this mobile app. It's handy and it's easy to use. And lastly, if you want to change legal entity and search for inventory within other legal entities, it's easy to do that as well. So just simply change and set your default legal entity to other orgs, then you will be able to view the inventory within that org. And these are now all the inventory and all the products and its inventory quantity within organization USRT. Okay, that's the end of this demo and functional introduction. All right, I hope you had an overview of what this app can do. And now I will show you a step-by-step guide of how to set it up. So there are 4 main steps to set up the mobile app. Step 1 is, as mentioned, it is a Power App. That means you need to install it within the Dataverse environment. So if you hasn't already enabled a Dataverse environment for your Dynamics 365 SCM, then you can set it up for your environment. And usually for each Dynamics 365 SCM, you should be able to enable its corresponding Dataverse environment. At least it is included in the product license. And next step is once you have the Dataverse environment ready, you could install the mobile app in your Dataverse. And after that, you can manage the access, grant access, and manage users in the Dataverse. And lastly, it's for the end user who could simply install and access the app from their mobile. So version requirement is it requires this SCM or FinOps environment from 10.0.38 onwards, and it's actually become generally available for broadcasting from today, or for some people it's tomorrow. And so for first step is setting up your Dataverse environment. You can follow the detailed guidance through this guide of how to set it up. And once you have it set it up, you will see under your Power Platform Admin Center, this is the environment that is connected to your F&O's environment URL. And one more thing is, again, follow this navigation route here, that you can enable the feature called Power Apps Component Framework for Canvas app. So this one needs to be enabled as a prerequisite as well. Next step is to install the app. So once you have the Dataverse environment, then you can go to App Source and find this mobile app. And again, there is a hyperlink. I also put a hyperlink on this page as well. And you can also find a hyperlink in the public doc for the app source for this specific page. You just click Get It Now, and it will take you to the Power Platform Admin Center again. And then this page will pop up asking you to select the right environment you want to reinstall the Power App, where you can select the Dataverse environment that you have linked with your Dynamics SCM environment, and then click Install. And just wait for 1 or 2 minutes, then you can refresh the page and you might be able to see if it shows installed, then that means it's been installed successfully. So it's really very straightforward. Oh, by the way, sorry for this page, because I didn't really toggle this down, but there's some terms and conditions boxes you need to check and accept. but it's also very straightforward. And lastly, since it's successfully installed, now you manage the users. And there are two entry points. You can either enter it again from the Power App, Power Platform Admin Center, and again, following this navigation and find this mobile app application and click the three dots. Alternatively, you go to your as an admin of the app. You can also access it from the Power App admin app list. You see it under My Apps, and again, click the three dots and click Share, where you'll be navigated to this page where you just type the name or email address, which is usually the user account for your users, and share with them. Licensing wise, you also always see this message, but it doesn't mean you do need a Power App license for your users. I will explain in just 2 pages later of what licenses are needed. So lastly, for the users, that you just need to visit. First, you need to have a Power app being installed in your mobile phone, and this app is available in the App Store from Apple, or from your Google Play, or from your Windows phone. You should be able to download this Power app, and then you click open and sign into the Power app with your user and account information. And within it, you can search for this inventory on hand mobile app. And do remember to include this hyphen. Otherwise, I just tried, you won't be able to find the app. And once you identify the app, you could click this information icon to mark it as favorite, so that next time when you sign into the Power app, you would just see it under the list here. To access the app, you just click onto the app, and then you will be taken to the landing page. And license-wise, as mentioned, because it is the first-party app for Dynamics 365 SCM, so there's no additional cost or licenses required for using the Power app if you already hold one of the below licenses. One is the standard SCM license, or you can, as long as you have the attached license of SCM, or you have the operations team member license, or the operations activity license. So one of the 4 licenses would be sufficient to cover a normal user to access the app and reading the data. Repaste some of the link. So all the previous step-by-step guide links, it's actually section links of within this complete documentation of inventory on hand mobile app on our public doc. And if you have any feedbacks, comments while using this app, you can still use this, visit this Yammer group. It is the Inventory Visibility Service Yammer group, despite it's not connected yet to Inventory Visibility Services data source. But basically, we're sharing the same Yammer group because the app is developed by the same team. And as it's been GA'd, so if you have any issues during the installation or using the app, you can also raise a ticket by LCS. And the TechTalk video for this session will be published a few days. It will be available in a few days, and later on we'll also update the link to this deck, which will also be published together with the video, so that you can always revisit or recap the video and the deck if needed. And that is pretty much of the introduction and overview of the mobile app. If you have any questions, you can post your questions in the chat, and we will start answering it.
Yeah, thank you, Yufei. I think we have received quite a few questions, but yeah, feel free to type in your questions and we will take all of them. Going through the list, the first question which we received was, can we deploy this app as in-store kiosk app? Yeah, definitely. I think you can install this app as an in-store kiosk app. It's just that it is a Power app. And as you know, Power app is basically available in Windows Store or Android Store or iOS Store. And then within that container of Power App, you can have multiple Power Apps. For example, inventory visibility, asset management, and things like that. But yes, for this app, you can have that app. You can also store it as a shortcut, and then you would need a user who will be logging in into this app, will have a right permission and right license assigned to it, so that through that user you will be able to see or view the inventory on hand. So that's the only requirement to view the data of inventory on hand. Yufei, you want to add anything?
No, I think that's pretty good answer.
Okay, the next question is, what is the frequency of data refresh in Dataverse from Dynamics 365 supply chain management? So I think there are a bunch of questions, so let's take one by one. So what is the frequency? So there is no data latency or anything like that, because these are based on the virtual entities. So your FNO data is being accessed through virtual entities, and these virtual entities are the data source for this app. So there is actually a real-time data you would be see on the app. The second question is, in what business scenario can this functionality be applied? Yufei, you want to take that?
Yeah, I would assume in my mind there might be, I think the top one cases might be customer support case. Whatever customer support, if those, let's say, support representatives are always on the move, and if they need to have access to the inventory, then this mobile app is a handy way for them to get that information. And then similarly for some store store representatives or store customer support, they can also leverage the app to do the work. And lastly, maybe for production shop floor workers as well, basically for people who's always on the move, not very handy to access the laptop, if they want to know the inventory information, then they can try to use this app to obtain information.
The third question in the same is, how does it differ from the existing inquiry mobile menu in the warehouse app, aside from the filter query? In a way, they are both similar functionality. On the warehouse mobile app, we do have item inquiry, where you have to scan for items and other product dimension, and you will be able to see the inventory on hand by location and by physical dimension and by status. This is pretty similar to that. However, warehouse mobile app has greater purpose in terms of doing all the inbound, outbound transactions. This app is mainly for inventory on hand, and it's actually promise to deprecated inventory mobile workspace. So this is a first step towards replacing that. And then in future, you might see more functionality added to this inventory on hand mobile app. I hope that answers the question. And then it says, it appears that transactional capabilities are restricted, limiting the practical application of the application. Yes, that is correct. This is the first ever step towards that. Currently, it only has inventory on hand viewing capability or querying capability, but we are definitely capturing the feedback as you guys are providing what all capabilities you would like to see, specifically like any inventory adjustment or inventory movement or anything like that. We can definitely gather that feedback and prioritize those requests. Yufei, you want to add anything?
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. Saying that you can also see in the survey, in the functional priority, that you can also vote for support the insight to action to support the transactional creation of inventory journals, for example.
The next question is, can administrators pre-configure a list of legal entities that can be selected? Well, when you log in into the app, it inherits the security permissions from D365 SCN. So if a user has access to more than one legal entity, then on the mobile app as well, they will get access to more than one legal entity, and user has to log in into this particular app. So I'm not sure if administrator will be able to log in. If there is a specific account which you are using, to log in into that one, definitely you can log in with the administrator account. Definitely administrator generally have like higher permissions. So our recommendation would be to log in with specific user account who has access to specific legal entities. And I believe there was a question like if you can select multiple warehouses, you can select one warehouse or all the warehouse. So you can select one site, and if you don't select the warehouse, then it is going to show all the warehouses inventory. But if you select a specific warehouse, then it will filter to that site and that warehouse. So I hope that's kind of clear. There was a question, there was a lot of typing on the keyboard. Has this been tested in real time with someone on a mobile? Yeah, you can try it and give your feedback and let us know how it goes. Can administrator pre-configure? Yeah, I think we have already answered that. Can a user select multiple warehouse? I think we have answered that. Can this display a product hierarchy? Example, I would like to see just the list of different milk products. So this talks about, I think, variants. So we do show like size, color, configuration. I think you have probably noticed that in Yufei's demo that we do show inventory for those product dimensions. Yufei, want to add anything?
Yeah, and so for product hierarchy, if you mean like in FNO, you can see the top level product and then the subsequent product that are being categorized under that hierarchy, then it's not, you can't directly see the hierarchy through the app. However, if it's product variant, as long as you set up, for example, several product and variants for one product, I think if you, a workaround is you set up your individual product variant as each product, and then you will be able to see it in the app.
At this moment, like we are only showing products and then product dimension.
Yeah.
But product hierarchy also means like if you have a product categories and underneath you have different categories and things like that. So that's currently not supported. Okay. Does it support scanning of a barcode to retrieve inventory availability? No. Just like Warehouse mobile app, it is in Warehouse mobile app, it is supported to scan. But in this inventory on-hand mobile app, currently it is not supported. You have to use either a wildcard search of a product name or a product ID. And this we have already received this feedback. So most likely in the future, you might see some more capabilities for searching specific products. Okay, is there any endpoint we can extend to custom Canvas app? I'm not sure if I understand the question, but this is a Canvas app, so you can extend it. The only limitation at this moment is that the Power Apps platform team or framework team is working on a feature where you can extend the existing app and you can also upgrade the app. At this moment, if you extend, you will not be able to upgrade it. So I think soon we will have that capability. And after that, you should be able to extend this existing app as well as you'll be able to take new features by upgrading the app. I think the next question is any plans to incorporate unit conversions? Yufei, have you heard of this requirement? Is this something in our backlog of the unit conversions?
Yeah, I heard about it. But as for the roadmap planning, so in the short term, we don't have plan to enhance the unit of measure conversions. But again, as the other key priorities that we heard from the feedback, if there's like high demand, I would recommend you to create an idea portal, or you can raise your feedback through that form survey, and we would consider the topics on the roadmap for the highly asked items.
Yeah, and at this moment, I think we are only displaying the inventory unit. We are currently not displaying sales unit or purchase unit or anything like that. I think the next question is also a good one. Does the app handle catch weight data in inventory and CW units? I think as we discussed earlier, it only supports the inventory unit at this moment. We are not exposing or we are not showing any other units. Can a customer further customize this app, extend the feature? Yes, you can extend this Canvas app, but our recommendation would be to hold on for for time being, as until we add the feature or capability where you can customize as well as you can upgrade at the same time, right? So that feature is coming. So until that point, I think you should avoid customizing the app. All right, if there are no further questions, then I think we can conclude. Thank you to our presenter Yufei and Chitong, and thank you for the audience. With that, we'll conclude this session. Once again, thank you and enjoy the rest of your day.